guys. All right, we are now on the third read aloud of our Earth Day books this week. This is called The Tree Lady. I just came across this book recently. It was recommended to me by another teacher, and I'm so happy that I got this recommendation. It's a wonderful book, so make sure you are listening as close as you can. If you want to look at a picture a little bit longer than I hold the page for, then make sure you can just pause the video and look at that illustration a little bit closer. All right, we're going to go ahead and start The Tree Lady. This is The Tree Lady, the true story of how one tree-loving woman changed a city forever. So H. Joseph Hopkins wrote our story, and it was illustrated by Jill McElmurray. And I will go ahead and let you know the illustrations in here are beautiful. So if you want to take a moment and pause the video and look at them, I would definitely suggest that. Catherine Olivia Sessions grew up in the woods of Northern California. She gathered leaves from oaks and elms, she collected needles from pines and redwoods, and she braided them together with flowers to make necklaces and bracelets. It was the 1860s, and girls from Kate's side of town weren't supposed to get their hands dirty, but Kate did. Kate listened well in school. She learned how to write and count. She remembered the poems and stories she read, but best of all, she liked studying wind and rain, muscles and bones, plants and trees. Especially trees. Most girls were discouraged from studying science, but not Kate. Kate felt the trees were her friends. She loved the way they reached toward the sky and how their branches stretched wide to catch the light. Trees seemed to Kate like giant umbrellas that sheltered her and the animals, birds, and plants that lived in the forest. Not everyone feels at home in the woods, but Kate did. When Kate grew up, she left home to study science at college. She looked at soil and insects through a microscope. She learned how plants made food and how they drank water. And she studied trees from around the world. No woman had ever graduated from the University of California with a degree in science, but in 1881, Kate did. After graduation, Kate took a job in Southern California. Where her boat docked in San Diego, she saw that her new home was a desert town. Kate never thought she would live in a place with very few trees, but now she did. Kate began her job as a teacher. She was also the vice principal of a school, so she had to make sure that everyone followed the rules. Kate missed studying science and was not sure she would stay on the job, but for 2 years, she did. From her school, Kate could see City Park in the hills above town. It was called a park, but it didn't look like one. It was where people grazed cattle and dumped garbage. Most San Diegans didn't think trees could ever grow there, but Kate did. With Kate's love for the woods, she thought San Diego needed more trees than anything else. So she left teaching to become a gardener. She knew she must plant trees that could live in dry soil with lots and lots of sunshine. Her friends worried Kate wouldn't find trees like that, but she did. Kate became a tree hunter. She wrote letters to gardeners all over the world and asked them to send her seeds that she could grow in a desert. She also traveled south into Mexico to look for trees that liked hot, dry weather and steep hills and canyons. Not everyone knows how to hunt for trees, but Kate did. Soon Kate's trees were planted along streets, around schools, and in small parks and plazas all over town. People bought trees from Kate's nursery and planted them in their yards. From elms to oaks to eucalyptuses and palms, by the turn of the century, young trees from Kate's nursery were growing in every part of San Diego. Most people didn't think a desert town could sustain so many trees, but Kate did. Then, in 1909, the city leaders announced that a great fair called the Panama, California Exposition was coming to San Diego in 1915. The fair would be held in City Park, which is now called Balboa Park. Kate felt Balboa Park needed more trees, thousands more, to look beautiful and to shade the visitors that came to the fair. That was too many trees for Kate to plant by herself, but she knew lots of people could do it together. She asked her friends to bring their friends and to come to the park for tree planting parties. Again and again, people volunteered to help. Those volunteers weren't sure they could plant enough trees, but before long, they did. And when the fair opened, San Diego was ready. Millions of trees and plants filled Balboa Park. The fair had so many visitors, it stayed open for 2 years instead of 1. People came from near and far to see the attractions and stroll in the cool shade. The fairgoers couldn't believe San Diego had such magnificent gardens, but thanks to Kate, it did. In the years after the fair, Kate was given many awards for her work, and people took to calling her the mother of Balboa Park. She continued gardening and planting trees until her death in 1940. Back then, few could have imagined that San Diego would become the lush, leafy city it is today. But all along, year after year, Catherine Olivia Sessions did. I get major goosebumps with this book. I think it's such a great book, and I love that it's based on a true story. I think it was just perfect for Earth Day and for this week that we're celebrating Earth Day. I hope you guys enjoyed this book as much as I did. I also wanted to mention, don't forget, if you ever want to recommend a book for me to read, have your parents email me or send me a remind message, and I can order the book. If I don't have it, I can order it through Amazon, and it'll get to me in about a week. So I would love for you guys to recommend as many books as you guys can. It'll make this more of a fun and interactive process for you guys to follow along with our read-alongs. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. And again, this was our 3rd book. I know I have, I think, 1 more for us to read for Earth, I guess, week. And I am also reading the Judy Moody chapter book, Judy Moody Saves the World. Don't forget, we are doing the live Zoom read-alouds every Wednesday and Friday. I hope to see you guys there. Have a good week.